All right, hello, Michigan. It is September 14th, and this is our first Zoom meeting of the kind of the new school year, I guess, for a lot of us. And I'm excited to have everybody back. And we are recording this so that folks who have conflicts can keep up with what's happening and stay connected and watch our meetings on demand at a date and time that works for their schedule. So I don't have a ton. Well, I do have some really important things, but my agenda is not that long. So I'm hoping to save time for some networking and some sharing of both resources as well as any needs that might be in the room. So want to make sure everybody has our next meeting on the calendar, October 5th. So typically we try and do these meetings the first Wednesday of the month. But because of certain holidays like September, to avoid the crush of back to school and Labor Day, we push it back to today. But typically it is that first Wednesday of the month. So our next meeting is October 5th, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. Just a quick shout out to our sponsors that have been so generous to us this year. Of course, you know, Ally Financial and the Michigan Credit Union Foundation, Raymond James, Anthem Advisors, a couple of new sponsors that have come on board to support our Fempreneur Summit, Community Financial and Credit Union, Michigan Education Savings Program, and Michigan Education Trust. And of course, our partner, the Michigan Council on Economic Education, who continues to be our gracious fiscal agent so that we can continue doing this work. My first update is coming very soon, on Monday, in fact. And so I'm hoping that everyone who's on the call today and anyone who catches the recording before Monday will help us promote the first back in-person Fempreneur Summit for a couple of years. We had a huge event planned, and then March 2020 happened. And so we've had a couple of years where we did things online, which was fine. We all had to pivot and do things differently. And so this coming Monday, we have our 2022 Fempreneur Summit that will be in person at the Vista Tech Center on the campus of Schoolcraft College, right off 275 and 7 Mile. And so I'm hoping that anyone who has connections or contacts here in Southeast Michigan would be willing to help us promote that. We do have space still available for participants. We're pretty full on exhibitor space, but we'd love to have some additional female entrepreneurs join us. So I can certainly email you the information, or you can just go to our Facebook page, or in the e-newsletter that I send out. There's always information about the Fempreneur Summit. The last couple of months, you'll see information and hyperlinks there. So that's my shout out there. Thank you so much to ACE Strategies and Heather Doring. I have to get used to her. She just got married. So McGlone, I have to get used to her new name. I've known her as Heather Doring forever, for chairing that for us and for exhibitors coming on board. And of course, to our underwriting partners, Community Financial Credit Union, Michigan Education Trust, and Michigan Education Savings Program. I'm trying to monitor the chat while I do this, so bear with me. Send me some info. Okay, Marianne, thank you. I will do that after our meeting. Thank you. So that's my first important and most timely, I suppose, time sensitive, because the Fempreneur Summit is on Monday. So thanks for any promotional support you guys can offer. The next is a really big piece of news. A lot of you have kind of, followed the story, followed my own story in Mark 2. Thank you. I will send that to you guys after the call. As you know, our Smart Money Michigan Kids Read program has been one of our hallmark programs for, 8 years now, and is much loved by libraries and families across the state. And each year I go through a pretty intensive process of identifying the book that we're going to use for our story times every April. And because the requirements, there are many requirements for a book to work. It has to be of the right age, level, has to have some sort of connection to money or entrepreneurship or, saving something, money themed. It has to be at the right price point. It has to still be available for publication. We have to have permission from the publishing house to customize the inside cover. It's just, there's a lot of things that go into choosing the book every year. And over the years, we've used, 9 different titles. And so that pool of potential books has gotten a little bit challenging. So over the last couple of years, I've been working with the publisher to try to create a new book. I'm very excited to say that for 2023, over the summer, we've had a process of a task force with representatives from multiple sectors reviewing the draft of the book. And we're getting very, very close to being able to send that off to print. So any librarians who are on the call or credit unions listening in who partner with libraries on our Smart Money Kids Read program, we will be using our original Owl and Otter and the Big Yard Sale book. It's a sweet story about woodland characters who have a lemonade stand and another group that has a cookie sale stand, and they have challenges and messes are made and customers are served and they deal with money, and at the end they problem solve and decide that working together is better than being separate. And so kind of the tagline is, you can't put a price on friendship. But I'm just so proud of this work. It's been, as I said, at least 2 years in the making, and it's actually going to happen. So I'm pretty excited about that. And within the week, I intend to have the book request form available so that libraries can request their number of copies. We do have budget, due to the generosity of Michigan credit unions, we do have budget for up to 9,000 copies of the book this year. We have a good price point, and the publisher is covering the shipping. So we were able to increase the number of units that we can purchase this year for libraries to use in their money-themed story times. So that's, I guess, my big reveal for today is you can see the graphic there of a sample of what the characters in the book will look like. And you see Mr. Otter there on the left, you see Mr. Owl in the middle, and they're kind of the 2 main characters. And so we're going to play off of them with some of the supplemental materials. And we plan to have some printables and activities that will go along with the book. Thanks, Lori. Yeah, it is exciting. And the characters are cute. The plan is, again, if all goes according to plan, weather and inventory availability and all of that, we will have the book sent to print, probably like put to bed, I want to say like by the end of October. And then the whole process that it has to go through, we will have books packed and ready for distribution March 3rd. So for libraries who, many of them are doing their spring programming now, you can anticipate having the books that you request well in advance of April 1st. So that's always my goal, is that we try to get things on the trucks the first week of March so that you have them by the end of March so that they can be utilized in story times during the month of April. So we don't like you waiting anxiously for books too close to your programming date. So we always try to get them to you well in advance of the start of April. So, and I just wanted to mention that the very generous and willing volunteers that were part of the final review process. I mean, they weren't part of the 2-year process, but over the summer, folks have, reviewed the content, given feedback, very valuable feedback. My volunteers from the Detroit Public Library, from Northville District Library, from the Library of Michigan, who works with all 400 libraries, representatives from the Kalamazoo schools, intermediate school districts, schools within Kalamazoo, and of course the Michigan Credit Union Foundation. So that's the big reveal for today, and I'm very pleased. I'm very proud, and I think that it'll be fun for libraries here in Michigan to realize that they're the first ones that will be using this book. The publisher is willing to do this with us because they will then put the book into their collection and they will be able to sell the book to future customers. But we're doing it in collaboration with them, and it will be first utilized here in Michigan. So that's that. Now I can't see, did Alicia make it on the call yet? Alicia, are you here? I know it's ungodly early. She's planning to come. Well, if she does, I will give her the floor. But what I can tell you, we're moving off of preschool children now. We're going to jump to middle and high school for the next update. And that is our Funding the Future musical financial literacy programs. Had a very successful run in the spring. For those of you who weren't on our May call, we reached almost 3,000 students in 9 Michigan schools. And thanks, always to Anthem Advisors and other local Raymond James offices for providing the funding for this awesome opportunity for our young people. And I want to say that we have an autumn tour, a fall tour coming. There are some gigs already booked in that window of October 28th through November 3rd. However, there are openings on the schedule. So while Carter Halsey is here in Michigan, we want to make sure that we have his schedule as full as reasonably possible to leverage and to maximize the impact while he's here. So if you work with middle or high schools in the state of Michigan, I would encourage you to reach out to me, and I can put you in contact with the scheduler, the person who manages their schedule, and see if we can't have Carter come to a middle or high school in your area. So again, those fall tour dates are October 28th through November 3rd. And then in the spring, the tour dates of April 17th through the 28th, Gooding is scheduled to come to Michigan. They would like to fill the first week of that 2-week window first before moving into the second week. But if you are, again, have relationships with high schools or middle schools in Michigan and would like to consider a spring tour, we can also have that conversation now. So again, reach out to me and I can be the conduit to put you in touch with our scheduler for this program. Our Smart Money Magic Show, we had a fantastic spring. We took the Ally Financial book of Planet Z and the Money Tree, and our fabulous performer brought the lessons from that book to life through as Spaceman Joel. And he explored Planet Z and their money tree, working with the kiddos from Planet Z and his earthly kiddo friends, and solving money problems and learning important money lessons. That this past spring, as we did the year before, those were pre-recorded segments that classroom teachers could utilize, on dates and times of their choosing and in whatever order made sense for their lesson plans. So classroom teachers appreciated that flexibility and being able to kind of right size it for the age of their students as well as their classroom schedule. So those segments are still available, and until I know what we're doing for 2023, I'm just going to say, if anyone wants to utilize the online pre-recorded segments, have them reach out to me and I can give them access. It's not something that is completely open access, because we do have an agreement with the performer and the sponsor, but I certainly can, on a case-by-case basis, give people access to that content. So very well received, a lot of fun. So it's a new show that was created as a way to bring to life the lessons that are taught in the Planet Z and the Money Tree book. So it was cool to be able to have new lessons and new material to share with educators, different from the in-person magic show that we had done for a couple of years. So again, let me know if you would like access to that, and I can share those segments with the teachers that you work with. And stay tuned. I'm hopeful that Ally has an appetite to come back and do a new show next year. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take the space theme, the Planet Z and the Money Tree theme, with Spaceman Joel going out into schools this year, going back and doing the live in-person events. So that's what I'm hoping that we'll be able to do. But again, it depends on whether or not we have funding to be able to do that. And I had a conversation with Ally yesterday, and so that is in process. I just don't have approval to move forward yet. But there you go. So I'm going to ask, I saw Derek pop on the call. Derek, are you here? I think you
I am.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you to give, and I don't have separate slides built out for each of the things that we talked about. So if you want to just give us MCE updates, including SmartPath, that would be great.
Sure, and I just popped a bunch of stuff into the chat to kind of guide us along a little bit. I think last time we met might have been before House Bill 5190 passed. Would that be correct, Kelly? You're on mute. I'm thinking it is. So anyway, House Bill 5190 did pass, and personal finance will be required for graduation, and that will start with this year's 7th graders. I've seen it printed up in a couple of different articles, this year's 8th graders, but I went back and looked at the legislation as it was passed, and it would be this year's 7th graders. So when they get up to high school, they'll have to have personal finance to graduate. One of the things that we're waiting on right now is from the Michigan Department of Education on some guiding documents that they're going to send to the school districts about implementation and how that process would work. And then we'll get started on standards, which will be a long and lengthy process, because those have we have to have multiple meetings on those, plenty of stakeholders involved, and also getting them passed by the State Board of Education. So that will be the heaviest lift, and I'm sure that we'll be bringing that to this group to request anybody who would like to be interested to be part of that team that builds those state standards. Plenty of educators, but I also think it would be very valuable to have professionals in the field as well be part of that process. So we're excited that it passed. We're excited to get started and just kind of chomping at the bit to get going on that. If you have any questions on the legislation specifically, I can answer them, but it really boils down to the students will be taking that for graduate as a graduation requirement. The next thing in the chat that I put in there was the Personal Finance Challenge case study link, and that's just something that I've had a couple of requests for lately from teachers as they've been putting together what they're going to do in their courses this year, maybe a little bit more personal finance in the econ class than they've typically had to kind of balance out the fact that these last groups of students won't have that personal finance class. So we've had some requests for that personal finance challenge previous year's case studies that we've used, so they can use that as a group project. I think it'd be great for if people are working with any schools to maybe look at that or grab that if they want to do a longer term project with a smaller group or with a classroom of students. The Personal Finance Institute, this is something we're still trying to finalize some details on. We were hoping to be able to host at the Federal Reserve and at the MISD, but one of the Federal Reserve is not able to host the event on the weekend. We have to do this on the weekend because of the length of it. There's teachers involved, and the MISD has a literacy event, so we're still looking for a host. But what we'd like to do, the first weekend of November, we received funding just last week for Personal Finance Institute, where we can host 30 teachers for a in-depth Friday evening, Saturday all day, and Sunday morning Personal Finance Institute, where they would leave with the WISE teacher certification test and pass that and hopefully have that certification. It requires a little bit of pre-work, 10 hours of pre-work before the event, along with the hours at the event. And one of the ways we might be able to plug in with people on this call is that the event we want to have not just pedagogical, how to teach this stuff, but also teaching the teachers about personal finance items so that they understand banking, they understand credit issues, they understand insurance, they understand housing and career. And we want to bring in professionals and have professional panels and speakers as part of our Personal Finance Institute. So it's approximately 13 to 15 hours of instruction. So there's a lot of time to kind of do both that weekend. So it's the application for people who want more information or who are interested in the Personal Finance Institute. It's not necessarily the application. It's more of just if you're interested, because we don't have all of the information yet. Just put together that Personal Finance Institute. It's more so for teachers. But if that's something you're interested in, I'll make sure I put my email here and you can reach out and say, oh, I'd love to speak during that to the 30 teachers that are in attendance. The 30 teachers who are in attendance will be receiving a $500 stipend, or if they'd rather us pay for their hotels and meals that are not covered by the conference, if they're from out of town, we're going to do that. So that's the Personal Finance Institute. We have at least one, if not some multiple, depending on CE's funding, scholarships to the CEE conference that is September 30th and October 1st. So it's coming up very, very quickly, obviously, but again, just something I was just notified of last week, that they have funding for the CEE conference. It's in Washington, DC area, in Chantilly, Virginia. And that would be all inclusive from leaving the home all the way to returning home for a teacher. They would like it to be a Title I school teacher. So on the form there, it does have a link to figure out if your school is Title I. If you'd like to share that with any of your teacher networks, that would be great. And so I guess the more people we have apply and request that scholarship, maybe that's an argument I can make to the national CE that let's fund more than one of these in Michigan. So that is, and that's for K through 12 educators, really. And even, I think about our credit union partners here, like credit unions, banks, people who are, engaged in teaching personal finance or economics would, I think, find value in the sessions that are offered at that CE conference. And last thing is just, I think it's today is Wednesday, so it'd be tomorrow night, Thursday, with U.S. Constitution, love-hate relationship with John Stoss. A lot of time for Q&A in the description. It talks about that. know that to attend the personal finance institute, does the school have to be Title I? No, it does not. That's just for our records. So it's going to be likely the first 30 that sign up for the Personal Finance Institute once we get the details finalized. So right now it's just gathering the information of who might be interested so we can mail out those people first and get them signed up first. So anyway, U.S. Constitution with John Stossel, love-hate relationship with the legislation that is across the country. Everybody has to teach about Constitution Day this week, and Thursday evening there is an event for that can be shared with educators and students about the U.S. Constitution. So I thought that might be interesting. They specifically say they're trying to keep out of the politics of it and go more so just kind of the pure connections to what's going on in the world today. Well, hard to stay out of politics with that, but just so you get the idea of it's more so of trying to stay neutral on that one. So those are some of the things that came to my mind. If anybody else has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them, especially if you had any questions with the legislation that got passed. And if Kelly, if there's anything I'm forgetting you want me to talk about, let me know.
I actually have a question about the Personal Finance Institute.
Yes.
That so that institute is for classroom teachers, right?
Yes.
Who might be the ones in their building to teach the half credit.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a lot of different audiences. You could have econ teachers, you could have math teachers, business teachers who might be looking to teach that class and want to kind of get a head start on their professional learning on it and their personal learning on it, as well as people currently teaching personal finance. And I think that it's best for that high school teacher. That's going to be the target. Now, if we had let's say a professional, that would be more so probably a presenter. But if they are like, hey, this is really interesting, I'd really like to be part of this, they could likely attend. The stipends would be only available to the K through 12 teachers, though, based upon where we're receiving funding from.
Sure. I was just thinking about, my own school district, right? Like, we were so excited and Grace went and delivered testimony, and now I can imagine they're going, oh gosh, now we have to implement this. And so I was just wanting to be clear that, it's specifically for high school teachers. Yes. Who might be the ones delivering the personal finance half credit, which could be, as you say, a teacher who teaches these other subjects. I was just asking for clarification so that I knew who to share the information with. Yeah,
and it's still an event in the process. We just received the funding for it, and then working through some of our partners who we were thinking might be good to host it, good locations to host it. At the end of last week, those were told we weren't going to be able to do it there. So the weekend really works out well. I think it's a good weekend to do it. And, we just need to finalize location, and then I can finalize all the details and have more of an event page for it. So right now, this meeting is when it is. So I wanted to share that it's out there, but I don't have all the info yet. Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone have questions about any of this before I move on? I don't want to rush. Well, we'll have time at the end too, but I just think, while it's all fresh, if anyone has questions, feel free to unmute and ask.
Yeah, I have a question.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing?
Good.
About the bill 5190. So this starts this year or this starts next year?
Not even then. It's this year's 7th graders. So approximately when they get to 11th grade, I think would probably be the sweet spot of when it's taken, or 11th or 12th grade. So I'm thinking you're not going to see it required in like your local school district until about 4 years from now. is when you're looking at it 4 school years from now. So maybe 2020, the school year starts 2026. Although I think Detroit is a little bit ahead of the curve, and they might be offering it next year, according to some conversations I've had with them. It might be next year or the year after. So I think they'll be a little bit ahead of the curve, but the school districts, around me, I think they're going to be more so on the time of implementation of 2026. I think Kalamazoo, they've got some great resources there. They might get ahead of the curve a little bit there. But I think most to be about 2026-ish, 2025 at the earliest.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
also have a question. This is Aldina from Lake Michigan Credit Union. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm driving right now and I want to make sure you can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Just wondering if you, and I'm not sure if you already sent that information in the chat. Since I am driving, I'm trying to be mindful of not looking at that. If you could send us, maybe Kelly, in an email how credit unions can get involved. You touched based on, I think you mentioned it's like a seminar or a conference of some sort. If you could email us that information, that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be starting to build out the agenda as soon as the end of this week, and we would love to have you involved. So I'm writing your name down, and we'll make sure that I communicate with you about that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hello, this is Cynthia. I'm the head of children's at the Waterford Library, and I'm also a mother of a 10th grader, and this should be started like this year. That's my opinion. But libraries in the communities, we all have like big meeting rooms where we can, maybe host things, like maybe get the ball rolling a little early on this for kids. They need it now. But maybe the parents out there would understand that. So. And just throwing that out there, it's a possibility that we could, work with the credit unions and Michigan Financial Wellness, maybe to offer some things for students right now.
That's good to know, because I could see that happening as we start to, especially as we start to get into the standard development process, and we want to start to roll out some offerings, just even testing some things out and seeing what the response is to them. So that's good to know. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
I was just going to come to you, Lori. Give me 1 second. Since we're starting the dialogue, this is the most important part of the meeting, I think, is where ideas are exchanged and connections are made. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and let's see, close that so I can see everybody. Yeah, so a lot going on. Hi, Dawn. Sorry you missed my fantastic presentation, but I know you do go and watch these on demand. I know you do.
I do. Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I gave updates on the Smart Money Kids Read, and a huge big hug to you and your people for helping with the review process. So I did give that update, and the Funding the Future update. There is a fall tour coming. There's a spring tour scheduled. And then we got into some of the other things that Derek was sharing. So what I'd like to do, since Cynthia brought this up, and since I still have Lori on the call, we do have providers in our network, Cynthia, that this is what they do. They do financial wellness, financial literacy education for community groups, for libraries, for really anybody who will listen. So while we're waiting for things to be in the classroom as part of this, House Bill 5190, let's make some connections here. So I'm going to ask Lori to unmute, and we'll just start our round robin now. And because both MSU Extension and all credit unions that I've ever worked with all have financial educators, and this is their job. So Lori, will you unmute and introduce yourself? I think everybody here, well, maybe not, just who you are quickly and MSU Extension. And we're going to update our shared calendar of events page, which is extremely out of date. And part of that's my fault, and part of that's I just hadn't gotten anything from partners. But Lori, if you can just give Cynthia a quick overview of what MSUE offers, and then maybe the two of you could schedule something offline specifically for her location, then great. But why don't you go ahead and get us started on our
Sure.
round
Thanks,
robin.
Kelly. Appreciate that. So Lori Rivetto, I work for MSU Extension. In particular, I'm with so MSU Extension's our outreach arm for Michigan State University, and in particular, I work with our 4-H youth development program. But I referenced in the chat, we also have staff members who do adult financial education as well. So that's not actually my area, but I want to reference it because it's something that, sometimes people have a need for, and they have a really robust programming schedule and content online. So I can also make those connections if that's helpful. I'm part of a team of 7 of us across the state of Michigan who focus on financial literacy as well as career development for young people. So helping young people get resumes, interview skills, professionalism, entrepreneurship, those types of things as well. So in our money management world, I put our webpage on in the chat as well. We have done a variety of programs in person or virtual and a combination. So if there's a staff member from the team that's nearby, we can certainly help promote a program or support holding a program in the area. We also have 4-H program coordinators in each county of Michigan, and they're also there to support this type of programming if there's a need. So if there's not one of us nearby, we can help make that happen as well. So I happen to be based in Wayne County. Kathy Jameson attends these meetings quite a bit. She's based in Macomb County. So we happen to be some Southeast Michigan staff members, but we have people on the west side of the state, in the UP, in Northern Michigan, so across the whole state of Michigan. Right now, we're just wrapping up a grant that we received thanks to Kelly from Laura, the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Department with Michigan, and we just wrapped up that grant. But we've got these self-guided lessons that we're going to sort of adjust and put back on our website now that we're not having the grant funding, that are for young people on 10 different topics like budgeting and credit and avoiding fraud and banking basics and that type of thing. So those are a great supplementary opportunity as well for young people to go through those self-guided learning opportunities. And then of course, we'll do those programs in schools, in community centers, in libraries. Out of school time is kind of our niche. So we can support that area and set up something virtually or in person. So I think that's kind of our quick summary.
You'd think I would have this down by now. Yes, so when I get requests from librarians or churches or community groups that are looking for specific topics, Cynthia, the local credit union folks that are in your local community and MSU Extension are two of the first places. I don't know if that's correct grammar, but they're often the first places that I will look, because they have material that's intended to be used in a non-academic setting, if that makes sense. So they're providing kind of real world applicable material. Now, that's not to say that you can't find that in other places, independent folks that aren't part of a formal organization, but because of the reach and the footprint, sometimes if I get a request from Saginaw or, who knows, Pinconning, or, and I do, then I say, okay, well, let's look at our system partners, right? Like who have representatives So yeah, so Cynthia, if you're interested in scheduling something either with the youth division or with the adult division of MSUE or with local credit union, I'm certainly happy to help facilitate that. But I think, that's why it's one of the beauties of this group is it makes you aware of the resources available. And it's kind of like, here's a need, here's a resource, Shazam, peanut butter and jelly, it goes well together. So with that, Brandy, are you still with us? I see your name and I know you're muted, but I'd love to hear from you if you can unmute and introduce yourself to the group, if you're able. If not, we can hop up to Andrea. Do you want to? I'm just kind of going around my Hollywood squares here.
Sure. I'm Andrea Tucker with the Michigan Credit Union Foundation. I don't have any major updates, but I would just echo what Kelly and Lori were saying about the network of resources that are available across the state. So if anybody is looking for something, Kelly, of course, knows who to reach out to, who knows how to reach together. So we're all here to help with that stuff. The foundation is, supporting Kelly and the Smart Money Kids book. So we're super excited about having that come out. We have been in conversations with Derek about the things that he's been talking about. So lots going on, but we're kind of just here to assist. So if I can help in any way, let me know, but I don't really have any major updates for now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for all your feedback on the book too. Very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marianne, do you want to share?
Good morning. I'm Mary Short with the Grosse Pointe Public Library, and I don't really have any big announcements or anything, but we're looking forward to participating again this year. We particularly do the Smart Money Kids, the book, and share that in April. And I'm going to reach out and see where the Grosse Pointe Public Schools are with this financial education. I have absolutely no idea. So I figure, what the heck, I'll just ask them and see, if they may be all set. I have no idea. But I thought I would reach out, and I'm also going to reach out to our library staff and see if they would like to do any further education for older kids and adults regarding financial awareness. I think that's a great idea. And since there's resources out there already, it isn't like we have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to reach out to our library staff and see if we have an opportunity possibly to do a little bit more along that. So thank you.
And I can tell you that many, many years ago, we did a lot of programming in Grosse Pointe libraries, but that has been, I want to say, probably 9 years ago. So it certainly wouldn't be redundant. You have a whole new set of patrons, I'm sure, that are active users of the library. But when I was first involved with, it was really more of financial protection, financial literacy and protection. That's how I got involved in this whole world, was when I was in media. I basically was the outreach arm, the marketing arm for what was then the Office of Financial and Insurance Regulation, and then it was Office of Financial and Insurance Services. Now it's the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Division. They were doing consumer protection work, and we did a lot of programming in the Grosse Pointe libraries, but that was a long, long time ago.
Okay,
So,
I've been here 4 years, so that was before my time, but I really think
yes.
I think it's a need out there. And so Lori just posted in the chat that she lives in Grosse Pointe too, so we can connect.
Sure.
And I just think there's an opportunity there that we could try to pursue. So And we reopened one of our branches that had been closed for renovations. We just reopened it on Friday. So woohoo, we're excited about that. It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with this, but we had a great
Congratulations.
reopening and a lot of fun. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Let's see, Dawn, do you want to say a word or two?
Sure. I think I've met most everyone on the call, but my name is Dawn Pinkham and I am a career development consultant at Kalamazoo RESA. And along with the career awareness and exploration, my focus is financial literacy. So I've reached out to many of you on the screen. Kelly has been wonderful in making those connections. Her peanut butter and jelly thing, that's real, folks, it's real. So I just was reaching out to Derek the other day about resources. Our team is kind of looking at financial literacy grade by grade by grade. So K through 12th grade, like what are the driving questions for developing those experiences and resources, and how can we scaffold all the way up to that high school moment where they're going to have that requirement in a few years. So we're looking at opportunities to provide professional development for our teachers in our county. So not sure what that looks like yet, have a little time to work on it. So want to offer a couple of those this year. And other than that, I have a meeting with Veronica, Lori, for the MSU extension. I've met Kathy and stuff before, and of course you on the screen here. Veronica and I are meeting with some members of our team to kind of talk about what we can do in Kalamazoo County for the MSU extension. Let's see, Aldina was on the call, and she's one of our Finlit Fanatics, the group that we started here in Kalamazoo, kind of an advisory team. And another person who's not here right now, Ben, who was a connection, and he was attending Kelly's meetings too. He's actually going to be doing a lunch and learn for us today for our team at KRESA. So something for the staff to learn, you know, how we can better ourselves in the world of financial literacy. So funding the future, trying to get a middle school in the area to jump on one of the open dates for Carter and his band. And
so you have those dates, Dawn, right, for this fall?
I think I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the one date they were looking for, they had open. They said, could he come and do one in Kalamazoo on his way to Lansing?
Yeah.
So we're trying to fit in a Vicksburg Middle School in that moment too.
Great.
So hopefully that will work. But heading over to a district Friday, I think it is, with a teammate. We're going to do a budgeting activity. We call it the Smarties, a very Smarties budget, where they're moving candy pieces along a board. It's a next gen personal finance lesson that we've kind of tweaked to make it a little more fun and stuff. So got a lot of things going on. And yeah, I love these connections, and this is where the stuff has come from. So Andrea, the Count on Pablo, met with Head Start. That's who gave Kelly some feedback on her new selection. And with that opportunity, we were able to say, how can we partner with Head Start? How can we partner with the younger kids and do something with the Pablo, the books that we have that haven't been used we used them in summer camp and the end of last year. How can we provide some of those resources for Head Start? So,
Yeah,
so
that's
many
awesome.
things. Yeah,
Good.
it's really good stuff. So we appreciate that. And it's been great.
Great.
Oh, Dawn, you're always such a light. Mark, what do you want to add?
All right, for those who don't know me, I am my blogger. I'm a financial educator. I've taught through Oakland County, Michigan Works for the past 2 years. I've taught on different topics of personal finance, and I've also helped promote Money Smart Week. So I don't really have much updates really going on, but those are the two biggest things I've done so far. So I've been partnering with Money Smart, with the Federal Reserve Money Smart Week since 2017, and it's been going good so far. And so it's been a good ride.
Good. Before we're completely out of time, I just want to say this is my own personal public service announcement, and that is, I'm sure the people on this meeting already know this, but I cannot believe how important local elections are this year. So for anyone who might be watching this on demand, I implore you to become informed and educated on your library trustee boards, on your local school boards. Those are the bottom of the ticket items that a lot of voters either skip or they don't really become educated on. But I cannot believe how crucial those local elections have become. So that's all I'm going to say about that, is we all need to be really informed on the candidates and make our best choices. Now, Cynthia, I don't want to give you short shrift. You had talked a little bit earlier, but do you want to add anything or have any other questions for the good of the room?
Not at this time, but this summer was the first time we had in-person programs. And it worked out great. It was wonderful to have the kids back in and the parents, and they're all excited. And yeah, I did get COVID at the beginning of summer, but it's kind of like, what can you do? But so we expect, and we're planning through the year to have in-person programs and to have an in-person program for Financial Wellness Month, and probably a hybrid that for the kids that attend, we'll do our games and other things, but also have kits for people and books packed up together that they can take and make through the month. It worked out very well last year. We gave away 100 books and kits to the families, and it worked out good. There's still, some families that are uncomfortable to come in, and some of the hazards of working with the public is you might get sick, but
right.
That's the second time and I'm still here, so
yeah,
good.
Well, I'm excited to hear that. I mean, I do think that there's an appetite for, getting back to in person. And so I'm very excited to see, programming in libraries and hopefully, some assemblies in schools, while still, offering the online or the remote versions where we can, but there's nothing like a room full of energized people. So I'm excited. Oh, Cynthia, can you just remind everybody your location?
I'm head of children's at the Waterford Library.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the center of Oakland County.
Right. Okay. Aldina, did you have anything else to add? I know you were driving, so if you're able, if you're still there, if you're wanting anything else you have.
Well, yes, I'm still here. You guys may hear my baby crying in the background. Yeah, we're still driving. We're trying to make it to an appointment, but I just got back from maternity leave, so I'm kind of officially back, but kind of not really at the same time. And I am just still catching on to all of the things that have happened this summer. It looks like the credit union, the Lake Michigan Credit Union, is still going to be very heavily involved in everything that you guys are promoting. Count us in on supporting you on all of that. I know we're going to be part of the book again, and with the libraries and all the connections and stuff. Myself personally, since I am still new to the community relations role, I will be heavily focusing on financial wellness. So working closely with Dawn, she is a wealth of knowledge. Like, she's amazing. I hope you can hear me, Dawn. You're absolutely incredible. So I'm just really excited, and I apologize for baby Sophia crying in the background, but she's ready to get out of the car seat.
I don't blame her. And congratulations to you and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your time focused on being a mommy, and a lot of us have been there. So don't worry about the crying baby.
Thank you.
We'd rather have you with a crying baby than not have you. So
thank you.
Well, it is 9:30 and I know folks have other commitments. So as always, if you have questions or need anything from me, you can always reach out in between the meetings. I encourage you to do that. I will get information out to Marianne and Mark for the Fempreneur Summit. Any support you can offer to get the word out locally would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a fabulous September, and I look forward to seeing you all again on October 4th. Take care.